Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Charane Trinadapi Sunichena Toradiva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Namaiva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatir Anyata Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Haraye Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopala Govinda Rama Shri Madhusudana Hari Haraye Namaha Hari Haraye Namaha Hari Haraye Namaha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jasodanandana Gopi Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Ramachandra, everything still good? You can hear nicely? Everything's okay? Okay, everybody, I'm now going to give a class as I was instructed by Ramachandra Maharaj. And if you have any questions that come up during the class, please post them in the chat box. This will save us time at the end. So as questions arise, put them in the chat box and I will address them accordingly. So let me share my screen with you. There we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. For my introduction, I found this quote in the purport to the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 9. There Prabhupada writes, as in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, has summarized the whole text in 4 verses, namely, Ahang Sarvasya Prabhava, verses 8 through 11. And so the complete Srimad Bhagavatam has also been summarized in 4 verses in the 2nd canto, 9th chapter, verses 33 through 36. And the reason why I use that as my introduction, because once I said that in a lecture, and a particular temple president afterwards said, Prabhupada never said that. And I knew that I had read it. So I did the research, and so I always mark that whenever I am asked to speak. So just as there are nutshell verses in Bhagavatam, these are the 4 nutshell verses of Bhagavad Gita. I have designed this class according to different levels. The first level is just the shloka and the translation. Ahang sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvang pravartate iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Machchitta madgata prana bodhayantak parasparam katayantascha mang nityang tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Teshang satatayuktanang bhajatang pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Tesham ivanukam partam aham agyana jangtama nashayam yatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So you have probably noticed that some of the words have colors to them. And I have devised this program many years ago as a way to help me learn the shloka and purport much better. With certain words colorized, it makes the subject matter easier for me to understand. I hope it does something for you as well. So now we go to the second level, which is the word-for-word synonyms. And I read many years ago a letter that Prabhupada wrote to one of his disciples. He said that by just going over the synonyms, you can find lots of information to preach on. And I've used that technique since then, and I have found it to be very fruitful. So let's go over word for word. Ramachandra mentioned that in 1975, I received second initiation, but more details. I received that second initiation in Vrindavan directly from Srila Prabhupada. Not everybody got their initiation directly. Many times it was a sannyasi or a temple president on behalf of Prabhupada. So my second initiation was right there with Srila Prabhupada. And when I got second initiation, I sat right next to him, and we went over the 7 Gayatri mantras that we chant in ISKCON, and we went over each word, and I had to repeat after Prabhupada, Om, Om, Bur, Bur, like that. So I can still remember that scene, that Prabhupada going over each word with me and hearing me repeat after him. So let's look at the first shloka. Aham, I. Krishna is speaking this verse. Sarvasya, of all. Prabhava, the source of generation. Mattak, from me. Sarvam, everything. Pravartate, emanates. So that is the opening line. Krishna is saying, I am the source of generation of all. Everything emanates from me. So that indicates that Krishna is the absolute truth. Iti, thus, matva, knowing, bhajante, become devoted. We're going to discuss bhajante in the third section. Mam, unto me, buddha, the learned, bhava samanvita, with great attention. And we're also going to study this word bhava in the next section as well. So this second part of the shloka is indicating that if you have actually understood that Krishna is the source of generation of everything, and that everything emanates from Krishna, then the proof that you have understood that is that you become devoted to Krishna with great attention. If that does not happen, if you do not become devoted to Krishna with great attention, that means you have not properly understood that Krishna is the source of generation of everything, that everything comes from Krishna. This is the proof. Next verse. Much chitta, their minds fully engaged in me. Mat gata prana, their lives devoted to me. Prana, the life force. So the pure devotees, they give heart and soul to Krishna. Bodhayantak, preaching. Yes, Prabhupada has taught us, preaching is the essence. Parasparam, among themselves. Katayanta, talking. Cha, also. Mam, about me. So yes, devotees are meant to preach and talk about Krishna, not Gramya Katha, not mundane topics. A devotee is one who is always talking about Krishna. Krishna kata, like the word here. Katayanta, talking, topics. So kata, topic, Krishna kata. Devotees are always preaching and talking amongst themselves about Krishna. Nityam, perpetually. Tushyanti, become pleased. Cha, also. Ramanti, enjoy transcendental bliss. So this word ramanti, we're also going to study more in depth in the third part of this class. So by talking and preaching about Krishna, tushyanti ramanti, you become pleased and you enjoy transcendental bliss. So I have to admit, yes, this is one reason why I like to do these Zoom classes. This is why I like to travel and preach. Ramachandra mentioned some of the places I have visited. I also preached in South India, in some South Indian temples. So if you become a preacher, then you will enjoy transcendental bliss and you will become pleased. And I have to admit, after doing these programs, I am very, very, very happy. I did one last night, and afterwards, I was ecstatic. Last night, I did a program about Ganga Sagara, how Ganga came down by the request of Bhagirath. And after the hour, I was completely happy. Next verse. Tesham, unto them. So the word them is in yellow because it's referring to the pure devotees. Satata yuktanam, always engaged. That's the mark of a pure devotee. Always engaged. Always engaged in what? Bhajatam, in rendering devotional service. There are 9 kinds of devotional service, and the devotee is marked, the pure devotee is marked as always engaging in 1, 2, 3 or more items of devotional service. Right now, you are doing Shravanam, hearing. So to the degree that you're paying attention and not becoming distracted, then you are transcending by devotional service. Priti Purvakam, in loving ecstasy. Yes, the devotees are indicated because they love Krishna. I once asked Srila Prabhupada in Atlanta in 1975. He was giving the Sunday feast. At that time, I was a brahmachari. So I thought to myself, this may be my only chance. So I raised my hand and I asked Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? And Prabhupada responded, when you love Krishna. So that I took as an instruction from my spiritual master. I took that as a personal instruction that my goal in life is to learn how to love Krishna. Dadami, Krishna says, I give. Buddhi yogam, real intelligence. So buddhi means intelligence, but when linked with the word yogam, then it means that this intelligence is in connection with Krishna. It's not material intelligence, it's spiritual. That's why the word Prabhupada chooses real intelligence. Material intelligence is unreal intelligence. But real intelligence is that intelligence which is connected with Krishna. Tam, that. Yena, by which. Mam, unto me. Upayanti, come. Te, they. So the devotees, if they have this love for Krishna, then Krishna gives what? Real intelligence by which we can go to Krishna. That's what Krishna wants. Krishna wants us to return, as Prabhupada has said so many times, back home, back to Godhead, which means Originally, we were with Krishna. Otherwise, Prabhupada would not use the word back. Back means you're returning to some place from which you came. So back home, back to Godhead means originally we were with Krishna. And Krishna wants us to return to him. So Krishna is the one who will give us the real intelligence how to return to him if we are always engaged in rendering devotional service in loving ecstasy. So the final of the Chatushloki of Gita, Tesham, for them, again, devotees. Eva, certainly. Anukampa artam. We will study this word anukampa in the next section as well, to show special mercy. So Krishna is merciful to all his parts and parcels. But for the devotees, the pure devotees, Krishna shows special mercy. Aham, I. Ajnana jam. So jam means to take birth. So ajnana. Jnana means knowledge. Ajnana means unknowledge or ignorance. So we are in material life, we are bitten by this ignorance. As the song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra Jao Maya Pisa Chira Kole. We have placed our heads on the lap of the witch called Maya. Why? Due to ignorance. And therefore, Tama, we are in darkness. But look at this next word, Nashayami. Krishna dispels the darkness of ignorance. This is Krishna's special mercy for the devotees. Atma Bhav, within their hearts. Yes, Krishna is within our hearts as Paramatma. So we read in Bhagavad Gita that Paramatma is doing many things. Anumantahi upadrashta. Two things he is doing: overseeing, witnessing, and sanctioning, permitting. And also we learn in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridisa nivishta, matak smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna in the heart is also giving knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Krishna, so this verse is directly showing how he gives special knowledge, special mercy. But in terms of forgetfulness, how does Krishna use forgetfulness for the devotee? Krishna causes the devotee to forget his bad materialistic desires which he had cultivated in previous lifetimes. We have a huge stock of desires, but once we surrender to Krishna, Krishna helps us by not reminding us of so many unwanted desires. That's what Krishna does. He helps us to remember him and helps us to forget our material desires. Sta, situated. Jnana, of knowledge. Deepena, with the lamp. That's like during the month of Kartik, every day we offer the lamp to Damodar. And in the temples, because there are so many devotees, there are so many lamps. So there is a lamp of knowledge, and Krishna provides that lamp of knowledge, Bhasvata, glowing. It is a glowing lamp. So these are what Krishna does. So now we go to level 3. Before we go to level 3, I will take a short commercial break and do a short kirtan. I have found that by breaking it up into short segments becomes much more palatable. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Ramachandra Das, are we still good? Everything sounds good? Ramachandra Das?
Sounds awesome.
We're good to go?
Yes.
Any instructions before I continue?
Now.
Okay, so let's finish up. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So now we're going to go deeper. As I pointed out, there were certain words which I wanted to discuss more. So the first word was bhajante in the 8th shloka, or the first of the Chatushloki. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, the final verse of chapter 6. This is where this excerpt comes from. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshiping a respectable man or demigod and may be called discourteous, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his or her own constitution. Failing to do this, one falls down. The Bhagavatam confirms this as follows. Yaeshang Purushang Sakshad Atma Prabhavam Ishwaram Na Bhajantya Bhajananti Shtanad Brashta Patantyada. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his or her duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from one's constitutional position. In this Bhagavatam verse also, the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti, used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also found in Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti mang mudha. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. The next word is bhava, which was also found in the first of the Chatushlokis. And for this, we are going to the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela in the chapter known as Life's Ultimate Goal, Love of Godhead. There, Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sanatan Goswami. If one actually has the seed of transcendental emotion in one's heart, the symptoms will be visible in one's activities. That is the verdict of all revealed scriptures. These are the 9 symptoms of a person who has developed attraction, bhava, for Krishna. So the first one is kshanti, forgiveness. One is not agitated by material things. Avyarta kalatvam, being free from wasting time. Not a moment should be lost. Every moment should be utilized for Krishna or connected with him. Number 3, virakti, detachment. In the material field, people are interested in material enjoyment, mystic power, and sense gratification. But all these things do not appeal to the devotee at all. Number 4, mana shunyata, absence of false prestige. Although a pure devotee's standard is above all, he or she still considers oneself to be in the lowest stage of life. Number 5, asha bandha, hope. A fully surrendered devotee always hopes that Lord Krishna will be kind to one. This hope is very firm in the devotee, as in this prayer. O my Lord Krishna, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing. Nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge, or pious activities. Nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen, I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. And that hope is always giving me pain. Number 6, sumutkanta, eagerness, chiefly characterized by an ardent desire to associate with Krishna. Number 7, namagane sada ruchi, always having a taste for chanting the holy names. Due to having great relish for the holy name, one is inclined to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra constantly. So let's all chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And number 8, asakti tat guna akyane, attachment in describing the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna. A devotee has awakened the tendency to chant and describe the transcendental qualities of Krishna. He or she has attachment for this process. And finally, number 9, Priti Tat Vasati Stale, affection for Krishna's places of Krishna's residence, such as the temple or holy places. A devotee absorbed in ecstatic emotion for Krishna always resides in a place where Krishna's pastimes were performed. The next word found in the second of the Chatushloki was the word Ramanti. And for this one, I found this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is actually the 8th verse of the Shatanam Stotra of Lord Ramachandra, which is found originally in the Padma Purana. Ramante yogino nante satyanande chid atmani iti rama padena sao parang brahma bidhiyate. The Supreme Absolute Truth is called Rama because the Transcendentalists take pleasure in the unlimited true pleasure of spiritual existence. So, as devotees, we are tasting spiritual pleasure, true pleasure. The reason material pleasure is not true pleasure, it is because it is limited and temporary. You may experience happiness as stated in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18. You may experience happiness in the mode of goodness, passion, or even ignorance. But regardless, whatever pleasure you enjoy in the modes of nature, it's limited and temporary. It doesn't last. But Rama, right, unlimited true pleasure of spiritual existence. The next word was found in the 3rd of the Chatushloki, Buddhi Yogam. This verse of the Bhagavad Gita 10:10, this is excerpts from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This verse of Bhagavad Gita clearly states how Govinda Dev instructs his bona fide devotee. Krishna declares that by enlightenment in theistic knowledge, Krishna awards attachment for him to those who constantly engage in his transcendental loving service. This awakening of divine consciousness enthralls a devotee who thus relishes his or her eternal transcendental mellow. Such an awakening is awarded only to those convinced by devotional service about the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead. They know that the Supreme Truth, the all-spiritual, all-powerful person, is one without a second. Just like there is another Sanskrit word, asamaurdva. You find this verse early in the 1st canto of Bhagavatam. Prabhupada explains, asama urdva. No one is equal to the absolute truth, and no one is beyond. So that is Krishna. As it says here, one, no one is equal to him, no one is greater. And he has fully transcendental senses. Krishna is the fountainhead of all emanations. Such pure devotees, always merged in knowledge of Krishna and absorbed in Krishna consciousness, exchange thoughts and realizations, just as great scientists exchange their views and discuss the results of their research in scientific academies. Such exchanges of thoughts in regard to Krishna give pleasure to the Lord, who therefore favors such devotees with all enlightenment. And this is what giving and hearing a class is all about. Giving a class or a lecture is exactly this. The speaker is sharing his or her realizations of their own Krishna consciousness and sharing it with the audience. So if the audience is sincere and serious, and the speaker shares their honest realizations, then it becomes a very nice exchange. The purport continues, herein should be the attitude of all devotees. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead recognizes a devotee, Krishna gives one intelligence and dictates how he or she may go back home, back to Godhead. The opportunity to engage in the transcendental loving service of Krishna is open to everyone. Because every living entity is constitutionally a servant of Krishna, to engage in the service of Krishna is the natural function of the living entity. But because one is covered by the influence of Maya, or the material energy, one thinks it to be a very difficult task. But if one places him or herself under the guidance of a spiritual master and does everything sincerely, immediately the Lord, who is situated within every heart, dictates how to serve him. Didami buddhi yogam tam. So this word right here, sincerely, that is the key. All we have to do as devotees is be sincere and serious, and if we can achieve that, Didami buddhi yogam tam, Krishna will give us the intelligence how to go back to Godhead. Krishna gives this direction, and thus the devotee's life becomes perfect. Whatever a pure devotee does is done by the dictation of the Supreme Lord. Yes, there is a famous story. One time, I believe it was 1976, Prabhupada was in New York, probably right after Rath Yatra. And Prabhupada was being interviewed by the newspaper Newsday. It's a famous newspaper of Long Island. So the newspaper man was questioning Prabhupada. How do you decide when to open a temple? How do you decide to do this? And Prabhupada started to speak, but Prabhupada's secretary, Rameshwara Maharaj, he interjected and said, oh, Prabhupada uses his intelligence. Prabhupada immediately cut off Rameshwar and said, no, I get dictation directly from Krishna. That shocked everybody. Prabhupada made it clear. He gets his decisions directly from Krishna. The purport continues. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Yeya tamang prapadyante, tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. There is a responsive cooperation between the Supreme Lord Krishna and his devotees. The more a devotee sincerely loves Krishna, the more Krishna reciprocates. So much so that a highly advanced devotee can talk with Krishna face to face. Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita. So here's how I know I am not a highly advanced devotee, because I am not on this stage of talking with Krishna face to face. When I'm on that stage, then I'll be considered a highly advanced devotee. Until then, no. The actual mission of human life is to understand Krishna and return home back to Godhead. Therefore, one who is sincerely engaged in the service of the Lord with love and faith can talk with Krishna and receive instructions by which he or she can speedily return home back to Godhead. Both the Gyanis and Karmis depend on direct sense perception for their imperfect knowledge. The Karmis never agree to accept anything not directly perceived, and the Gyanis put forth only hypotheses. However, the Vaishnavas, the unalloyed devotees of the Lord, do not follow the process of acquiring knowledge by direct sense perception or mental speculation. Because they are servants of the Supreme Lord, devotees receive knowledge directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he speaks it in Bhagavad Gita, or sometimes as he imparts it from within as Chaita Guru. So this much I can say. From time to time, I do get quote unquote text messages from Krishna within the heart. Because throughout my life and throughout day to day, so many problems arise. And sure enough, so many times this has happened. I get a text message in my heart from Krishna, and that's the answer. It has happened so many times. Maybe it has happened to you, but I certainly can accept that Krishna is in my heart and is helping me. One should not hear anything about Krishna from the Avaishnava, however great a mundane scholar he or she may be. Milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effects. Similarly, talks about Krishna given by the Avaishnava are also poisonous. However, because a Vaishnava is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's talks are spiritually potent. When a pure Vaishnava speaks, one speaks perfectly. How is this? One's speech is managed by Krishna himself from within the heart. Those who are actually pure devotees of the Lord are instructed by the Lord through the heart, where the Lord is always situated. If one follows the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, even though an insignificant creature, can perform the most difficult tasks by the Lord's grace. Everything is possible for a pure devotee because he or she acts under the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Through Krishna's inconceivable energy, a pure devotee can perform tasks that are supposed to be very, very difficult. One can perform tasks not even previously performed by the Lord himself. Such an empowered devotee sees and feels oneself to be the lowest of men, for one knows that whatever he or she does is due to the inspiration given by the Lord in the heart. To be empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to qualify him or herself. This means that one must engage 24 hours daily in the loving devotional service of the Lord. The material position of a devotee doesn't matter because devotional service is not dependent on material considerations. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjun tishtati. Staying within everyone's heart, Lord Krishna works very gravely. No one can understand how Krishna is working, but as soon as Krishna understands the sincere activity of a person in devotional service, Krishna helps him or her in such a way that the devotee cannot understand how things are happening. If the devotee is determined to serve Krishna, Krishna is always prepared to help him or her. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to some and neutral to others. One can actually draw the attention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by service. Then one is further empowered by the Lord to act in such a way that everyone can appreciate one's service. Krishna is responsive. If one tries to render his or her best service to Krishna, Krishna gives one the power to do so. And so our final word, which appears in the last of the Chatushloki, Anunkampa Artam. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that in order to show special favor to his pure devotees, Krishna personally eradicates the dense darkness of all misgivings by switching on the light of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, because of the personality of Godheads taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotee, certainly a devotee engaged in his service in transcendental love cannot remain in darkness. He or she comes to know everything of the absolute and the relative truths. The devotee cannot remain in darkness. And because the devotee is enlightened by the personality of Godhead, his or her knowledge is certainly perfect. For a devotee who has taken the lotus feet of the Lord within one's heart, Krishna gives spiritual enlightenment known as Jnana Deepa by special mercy from within. This Jnana Deepa is compared to the fire hidden within Arani wood. To perform fire sacrifices, great sages previously did not ignite a fire directly. The fire would be invoked from Arani wood. Similarly, all living entities are covered by the modes of material nature, and the fire of knowledge can be ignited only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead when one takes Krishna within one's heart. Savai Manak Krishna Padaravindayo. If one seriously takes the lotus feet of Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart, Krishna eradicates all ignorance. By the torch of knowledge, one immediately understands everything properly by the special mercy of the Supreme Lord and becomes self-realized. In other words, although a devotee may externally not be very well educated, because of his or her devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives one enlightenment from within. If the Lord gives enlightenment from within, how can one be in ignorance? Sadhavo hridayang mayam, sadhunang hridayang tvaham, mad anyate na jananti, nahang tebyo managapi. Lord Narayan advised Durvasa Muni, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Although Durvasa Muni was a great mystic Brahmana, he did not know what is what. That is the difference between a pure devotee and a so-called learned scholar of Vedic knowledge. The devotees, being always situated in the core of the Lord's heart, surely get all instructions directly from the Lord, as confirmed by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita. The devotee does not do anything not sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most learned or experienced person cannot understand the movements of the Vaishnava, a pure devotee. No one, therefore, should criticize a pure Vaishnava. A Vaishnava knows one's own business. Whatever he or she does is precisely right, because one is always guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, before I answer any question, I'd like to end this portion by chanting the Nrsimha prayers. And these Nrsimha prayers, I want to bless you all that you are protected from coronavirus, not just 19, corona 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So for a year now, every program that I do, I always end with this Nrsimha prayer and always offer it to the audience. I'm very, very, very pleased that, wow, 55, this is the biggest program I've ever done. Therefore, you get the bell. Wow, New Jersey, you rock. This is the biggest crowd, wow. I thought my class is so long, there's only going to be 5 people left. Ramachandra, you're doing such a fantastic job. Thank you. All right, let's do these Nrsimha prayers, and then I will answer any questions. And then after that, I'll do one rock and roll song. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Klada Dayane. Prahlada Klada Dayane. Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha. Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha. Shila Chankana Kalaye. Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha. Yato yato yamitato Nrsimha. Bahir Nrsimha Hridaya Nrsimha. Nrsimham Adim Sharanam Prapadye. Nrsimham Adim Sharanam Prapadye. Nrsimham Adim Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Chanubringam Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadish, Jaya Jagadish, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa, Paribrajaka Astotra Satta Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Yamuna Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai. ISKCON of Bergen, New Jersey Ki Jai. ISKCON of Bergen, New Jersey Ki Jai. ISKCON of Bergen, New Jersey Ki Jai. And special Ki Jai to my good friend Ramachandra Das, who allowed me this ecstasy. I am so ecstatic right now. Thank you. But I see that there are no questions. So I guess everything was simple.
So the devotees, please type your question or raise your hand. But before we go into the questions, Prabhuji, I'll just take 30 seconds to make just a couple of announcements. Sharing my screen, all of you can see. I just want to let you know about our upcoming programs. Today is wonderful. It's not done yet. Today's class is not done yet. On Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we have a wonderful, wonderful speaker with us again, our Grace Nitai Sevini Mataji. Spread the word, invite your friends and family. The topic is very nice as well. Tips to overcome enviousness. And then following Sunday, we have another great speaker. He's a sannyas candidate. His Grace Ekalavya Prabhu will be speaking straight from Pandharpur. The topic is humility of Haridas Thakur. And for those who are new and not aware of all the programs we have, visit our website, iskonofbergen.org, and you'll get all the information there on the weekly programs that are happening. Thank you very much. So feel free to type your question. This is your opportunity to ask questions, and no question is a foolish question. All right, Gopal Govind Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, as usual, very nice enlightenment session, and full of music and your ecstatic mood. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances.
May Krishna bless you.
Thank you, Prabhu. My question is probably covered with your the narrations and explanations, but I just want to reiterate that question because that keeps hitting again and again.
Okay.
We hear the word pure devotee. So question is, who is pure devotee? Do we have a need for recognizing who is pure devotee?
Okay. So this question is what we call a nuanced question, because you can answer it from different angles of vision. I will try my best. So let's just say the following answer is the bottom line, lowest common denominator, because there are many different levels of pure devotees. So if you study Prabhupada's books, in some places, you will see that Prabhupada says, if you accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you can be considered a pure devotee. But we also know in other places that a pure devotee is somebody who has no more material desires. And then we reach further that even in that category, there are so many subcategories. And in one place, Prabhupada says that if you're chanting under the instruction of the spiritual master, that is considered offenseless chanting. So I guess it depends how strict you want to be. For instance, I'll give a parallel. Ekadasi. Some people, like myself, Ekadasi, we just abstain from grains and beans. Other devotees, they take it to a higher level, that not only do they not eat grains and beans, then maybe they only eat once in a day. Or they go even further. They don't eat anything. And then still others, they don't eat and they don't drink anything. So in the same way, in this understanding of a pure devotee, it will depend on what level you want to take it, what angle of vision. So as far as I'm concerned, as I mentioned in the class, I'm certainly not that kind of pure devotee that is on the level that is conversing with Krishna face to face. So I accept Krishna as God without doubting. So I can say, yes, I'm a pure devotee because I haven't given any attachment to anyone else. I'm strictly worshiping Krishna. So on that level, I can say I'm a pure devotee. But even in this, there are so many different levels. You can be a neophyte pure devotee. You can be a Majjhima Adhikari pure devotee. You can be Uttama Adhikari. It depends how you want to see it, how you want to take it. How does that sound?
That's perfect, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take it however degree you want to take it. But in any event, keep hearing and chanting. And stay in the association of all these pure devotees I see on the screen. What else?
Draupadi Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, go. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, as you said, Krishna sent the message, right? It comes from the within the heart, and sometimes we get messages, but still we don't understand it's coming from Krishna only. So how can we understand?
Because for me, it's no problem. Do you accept Bhagavad Gita? I'm sure you do, right? So the 15th verse of the 15th chapter, Savasya chaham riddhi sanifishta. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, and text messages. So I see it. It happens so many times throughout the week. I have a problem with this and that. And within no time, oh, stupid, that's the answer. Now, that didn't come from me. That came from Krishna. The non-devotee thinks, I thought of that. It's all about me, I. But no, devotee says, oh, by Krishna's grace, oh, Krishna. So it's not that I'm being puffed. Of course I'm puffed up, just ask my wife. But it's not that I'm being puffed up by saying that I got a text message from Krishna. It's based on everything comes from Krishna in the heart. I'm just recognizing it. That's not a bad thing. So give the credit to Krishna. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
There's a question in the text box. Since Krishna is equal to everyone and partial to his devotees, so does Krishna compare the services between the devotees?
Krishna compares the devotee service by how much that service is rendered by love. This whole Krishna consciousness is simply a measure of love. As Prabhupada answered my question at the Sunday feast, what pleases him is when I love Krishna. So love, you can't measure in one sense, but Krishna is looking. Look, Krishna doesn't need my dal, rice, and chapati. Krishna has Radharani, the best cook. So it's not that there's something I'm going to do, but Krishna is looking to see, have I given him my heart? Have I surrendered I was raised a Catholic, so I still remember to this day one thing I learned, that Jesus was asked, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, when you love God, not him. He didn't say when you love me. Jesus is not Krishna. Jesus is son of Krishna. I tell that to Christians, whether they like it or not. So Jesus said, when you love God with your whole heart, your whole soul, and your whole mind, that's Krishna consciousness. That is what Lord Chaitanya is teaching us, how to love Krishna completely. So that's what Krishna is looking for. I remember in the early days, the devotees used to always preach. They said it was spoken by Prabhupada. Krishna is not looking for how much you are giving, how much you are holding back. So, just like in the case of Sudama, Sudama was so poor, but at least with his heart and soul, he did bring the offering of the chipped rice. Krishna was impressed, not with the chipped rice. Krishna was impressed because Sudama, all his life, was worshiping and loving Krishna. So Krishna just wants to see, and just like a husband and wife, I use this example all the time. It's not that the husband and wife are thinking, that's enough. No, the wife is thinking always how to do more for the husband, and the husband is also thinking how to do more for the wife. Not one way. Don't work that way. They're both supposed to serve each other. Yes, sometimes I do marriage counseling. That's the first thing I point out to both the parties. So it's simply a matter of momentarily giving more and more of our heart to Krishna. That's the only thing Krishna wants. He wants your love. He doesn't want your house. He doesn't want your car. He doesn't want anything from you. He wants your love and devotion. Therefore, just chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What else do we have for questions?
Another question. I have everything comes from Krishna. This is in the chat box. Everything comes from Krishna. So what about our bad thoughts? And what should be done when bad thoughts come?
Obviously, if something is bad, we reject it. So why is Krishna reminding us? Because a few hundred lifetimes ago, we told the very same Krishna, I wanted to do this. So now the opportunity has arisen. So Krishna, unless you have fully surrendered, Krishna's simply saying, okay, a couple of lifetimes ago you wanted to do this. Now is your chance. Now it's up to me to decide, do I want to act on that or not? Not that Krishna is forcing me. No, Krishna is simply setting up the chessboard. It's my turn to make the move on the chessboard. So when these bad thoughts come, we should simply say, Hare Krishna, no, do not do this. I don't want this. It's a test from Krishna. The whole experience of life is a test. Constant series of tests. Am I going to do the right thing or the wrong thing? The whole Mahabharata, if you study Mahabharata, the whole Mahabharata came down to, do I do the right thing? Do I do the wrong thing? Duryodhana always did the wrong thing. Dhritarashtra was advised time and time and time again, speak to your son, don't let him do this. And what did Dhritarashtra? No, let him. Duryodhana made wrong choice after wrong choice. He was warned by Bhishma, by Vidura, by his own father, Vyasadeva warned him. So many times he was warned. If you don't stop it now, you're going to lose not just Duryodhana, all your sons. But did he listen? No. And what happened at the end? He lost all 100 sons. Simply because stubborn and attached, he made the wrong decision day after day. But because we have Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we now know what to do and what not to do. That's why we have to study Prabhupada's books every day. Not that, I know Bhagavad Gita. No, you don't know Bhagavad Gita. We need to study it every day so that you are always making the right decision. That's why we have a spiritual master. And that's why we learn and listen to other saintly persons. Yes, that will help us. Pride comes before the fall. Next.
Another question. I want to surrender to Krishna, but I also have other responsibilities. So how can I completely surrender to Krishna right now?
Simple. Whatever responsibilities you have, this is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 8:7. My dear Arjuna, you have to execute your prescribed duty and at the same time go on remembering me. So yes, we all have so many duties, everyone. Husbands have duties for the family, for the children, for the wife, their job. Do your duties, but remember Krishna throughout the day. Same way with the wife and the children. Yes, not that, oh, I'm a children, I don't got to work. No, you also have to remember Krishna throughout the day. Yes, you're going to school and doing so many things, but you also have to remember Krishna throughout the day. That is the whole thing. That is clear in Bhagavad Gita. Not that we give up our duties. No. You execute your duties and at the same time remember Krishna. How will you remember Krishna if you don't chant? How will you remember Krishna if you don't read Bhagavad Gita every day? How will you remember Krishna if you don't associate with the devotees of Bergen? Associate with devotees, chant your mala, read Bhagavad Gita, and remember Krishna. I see that Asta is laughing and smiling, so that means she likes what I'm saying. Therefore, I give her a bell. What else?
I want to advance in Krishna consciousness, but currently I have some material desires and bad habits. So is it not offensive to take up Krishna consciousness until I clean up these habits and material desires?
Unless you take up Krishna consciousness, you will never clean up. Yes, that's Maya talking. That is such Maya talking. Maya is saying, oh, you're too fallen to chant. You shouldn't chant. You should first become pure, and then you can chant. That's Maya, and that should be rejected and kicked out and stomped and flushed down the toilet. Yes, even if you're the most offensive living entity, like me, one thing I have learned in my life, you can now quote me. Some chanting is still better than no chanting. You may think I am the most fallen. I have so many. I also have desires. I'm also. But I have enough sense to know the only way I'm going to come out of this is try my best to chant and spend quality time with Krishna every day. That day is never going to come. Oh, I'll take up Krishna consciousness when I'm free from no. Because what does Bhagavad Gita teach us? The more you indulge in lusty desires, what happens? It burns like fire and you're never satisfied. Dushparain anulenacha. So, if you find yourself unable to give up your material desires, that's okay. But, what do they say in sports? Good offense, better than defense. So don't go negative, go positive. What does Bhagavad Gita say? Nehabikramanashosti pratyabhayona vidyate. A little bit of advancement can save you. So always, that's why we preach Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. Yes, even offensive chanting is better than no chanting. Because that's what Maya is trying to get. Maya gets in there, and what is she trying to do? She wants you to stop chanting because she knows once you stop chanting, she's got you under her grip. So you have to tell Maya, no. You're not going to get me in your clutches. I'm in your clutches, but I'm going to bust out of here by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, please, remember, Harinama Eva Kevalam. Chanting is the solution to all problems. There have been times in my life that I have been deep, deep, deep in Maya. I didn't know how I was going to get out, but at least I tried to chant. And sure enough, bloop, 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 I was out of it. Chanting is the only way. Please never forget that. Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. I don't care how fallen you are. Chanting, it'll get you. And also, prasad. Take prasad. That will also help you. Take prasad. All right. What else?
Please keep sending your questions in the chat box. The next one is, some devotees are gifted speakers, kirtaniers, cooks, etc. I want to be like them, but I just don't have it in me. What should I do?
Okay. So, I don't know you personally, and I would have to sit with you personally, but everybody has some special talent. Whatever talent you have, use it for Krishna. In my case, I went with my wife to a devotee astrologer way back, maybe 30 years ago. And the astrologer did my chart, and the astrologer told my wife, your husband, he's one big mouth. All of his planets are in his mouth. So I took that. I have to use my mouth for Krishna. So As far as being a preacher, Prabhupada said anyone can be a good preacher. You have to know the technique. And what's the technique? You study Prabhupada's purports. You study Prabhupada's purports and simply repeat, you are a first-class preacher. That's all it takes. Practice. I am a musician. Unless I practice, the music's not going to come out good. I also have to practice this every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I have to practice. These big athletes, LeBron James, all these big athletes, they spend hours every day practicing. It's not that they just sleep in bed all day. Okay, it's time for the game. No. Every day they also do sadhana. These LeBron James gets up early in the morning, not to go to Mangalarti, but he's in the gym early in the morning shooting a ball in the hoop for hours. So we have to practice. So practice chanting. Become expert at chanting. You just do that. If you want to be an expert preacher, study Prabhupada's purports. Cram them. Cram them. Over and over and over and over. That's what I did. I studied Gita, Bhagavatam, CC, Krishna book. Every year, I loop them. Every year. And I want to know. As soon as somebody asks me a question, boom, I know where to find the answer. That only comes by practice. So, find something that you like to do and do that for Krishna. There must be something you really like to do. Even if it's just eating, then eat for Krishna. Look how fat I am. Eat for Krishna. At least do that. Do something. Find what you like to do for Krishna and perfect it. And the only way to perfect it is to practice, practice. Prabhupada once said, you do something for 7 years, you'll become expert. Just keep doing it day after day after day. Like recently, somebody asked me, I said, find one book of Prabhupada, find one book and learn it thoroughly. You'll be expert in preaching. Find one book. For some it's like for me, I never liked Bhagavad Gita. I would read Bhagavad Gita and I'd fall asleep. But I loved Chaitanya Charitamrita. Go figure, I don't know. So I would just read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And of course, I always loved Krishna book because that was the book that made me a devotee. Then one day, 25 years later, I said to myself, I am going to study Bhagavad Gita. I don't like Bhagavad Gita, but I'm going to and now I love Bhagavad Gita because I forced myself to learn it, and it was hard, but you get purified. So find one book and master it. Know exactly, oh yes, that's on page 325. What? Yes. You should know exactly what's in the book. Become like a lawyer who knows the law book. All right, what else?
Next one is, when we feel like we made little advancement, we feel like we have become some pure devotee. So how to maintain that humility that I'm still fallen?
Well, Lord Chaitanya instructs us to wear around our neck for constant remembrance, 3rd Shikshastakam verse. I highly recommend every day reading Shikshastakam prayers. Highly recommended. It will keep you grounded. In my case, I don't have to worry. You know why? As soon as I get puffed up, my wife is there to chastise me. I'm covered. As soon as I get puffed up, there's my wife reminding me, hey, who do you think you are? So find somebody who you trust and they will put you. Anyway, you want to be humble, then just meditate constantly on that third Shikshastakam prayer. Every program I chant that third Shikshastakam prayer. And it's also a question of just realizing I'm insignificant. I'm only 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. What's there to be puffed up about? I'm only 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. So chant. If you chant every day, Krishna will arrange it. You can go on for some time being puffed up. Don't worry. Krishna's going to arrange something. Oh, you're puffed up, huh? Smack. Krishna will arrange something. You'll be put into place within no time. Always happens. You can fly high for a little bit. That's it. Please, if you can't do the entire Shikshastakam, start your day with this verse. Yes. Start your day with this verse. Right. What else?
Next question is, my family wants me to not give a lot of time to Krishna consciousness. They feel neglected if I spend some time chanting a few rounds and read or hear an hour a day. What to do?
Well, it depends how old the person is. Is it a kid or is it an adult?
Adult.
Oh, well, if it's an adult, then just say, too bad. It's my life and I'll do what I want. Yes. If you're an adult, then you just put your foot down. No. Just like when we want something, if we really want something, we don't take no for an answer. Yes, ladies are shaking their heads. I know. Yes, when you want something, you somehow or other put your foot down and say no. So sometimes you got to put your foot down and say, too bad, I need this for my therapy. Chanting and hearing is therapy. Yes, I need this. And you're not going to stop me. I'm going to figure out and I'm going to do this. Yes, sometimes you have to be a little forward. If it's a kid, that's a little different story. But kids, you can find a way. Use your intelligence. Krishna will help you. Yes. Krishna will help you if you're determined. Krishna will help you. When I was a kid, the way I grew up, the answer was always no. Whatever I wanted, my parents said no. So as I got a little older, I became bolder. So one day I walked in the house with a guitar and an amplifier. So little by little, not that I'm recommending to be a rebel, but I'm just showing you that when we really want something, somehow or other we figure it out. Yes, somehow or other. And God helps those who help themselves. Krishna will help you. He will give you the Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam in today's verse. If you actually want to spend time with Krishna, you can just say, oh, I need to take a walk. Let me go and so take a walk with your little friend. Here you go. Where I live here, I live in a huge apartment complex, over 400 units. Everybody's got a damn dog. Everybody goes out twice a day walking their dog. So, this is my walking the dog. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I need it. Oh, I need air. I need to do some exercise. Okay, keep your beads hidden, then go out for a nice japa walk. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can keep a small Gita in your pocket, and you can read a little bit. Maybe I'm getting too controversial. I don't know. But where there's a will, there's a well. There's a way. Anything else?
Next question. As a neophyte, how can I see everyone as a part and parcel of Krishna?
Well, that's just a matter of at least understanding it philosophically. No one's expecting you to see the super soul in everyone's heart. No, but at least we should know theoretically that everyone's a spirit soul, that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, and that Krishna is in everyone's heart. At least philosophically you accept it. That's good enough. That's the beginning, to at least accept it. As you mature, you'll be able to feel more and more confident in that understanding, and you will actually little by little deal with people. Just like in my case, since 1994, practically speaking, 99% of my preaching is with Indian people. Now, I know many American devotees, they have a hard time interfacing with Indian people, but I found it no problem. I said, they're just like me. They're devotees. They have their story of how they came to Krishna. So I don't see you as Hindu. I see you as devotees. I see you as my family. We all belong to the family of Krishna. 95% of my friends now are Indians. I have very few American devotee friends because for the past 25, 30 years, all my preaching has been with Indians. Even when I go to South America, I'm preaching to the Indians. Yes, because I love you. You're so easy to preach to. Krishna is in your blood. In my blood is Mickey Mouse and nonsense, but in your blood you have Krishna's right there. Preaching to Indians is easy. I just have to scratch a little bit, boom, no problem. You immediately pick up on Krishna. With Americans, I got to go this way, that way, up, down, but blip, blip. It's frustrating. Indian people, easy. Besides, when I do Indian programs, I eat good. That's another reason why I do programs, for the prasad. I became a devotee only because of prasad. No other reason. I'm stupid. I just like good food. Hare Krishna. What else?
Can you please share how you and your wife came to Krishna consciousness, and what was that one thing that you liked the most in Krishna consciousness?
Well, I didn't join with my wife. We met like 7, 8 years later by Krishna's arrangement. But in my case, I first got a pamphlet, and I read that pamphlet. It was about the Prahlad Maharaj. And I liked everything in the pamphlet. I loved it. I loved everything that was in the pamphlet. And on the back was a picture of Prabhupada like this. And immediately I knew, this is my guru. Then 6 months later, I got Krishna book, volume 1. And it took a while, but one night I started to read Krishna book, and by the end of chapter 6, I closed the book after Krishna killed Putana. I closed the book and I said, I'm joining Prabhupada's movement. So it took a few more months. So within a year of first coming in contact with Prabhupada's books, within a year I moved into the temple. Then, of course, on my first visit to the temple, I saw Prabhupada, And that was a transcendental mystic experience. Prabhupada was glowing with effulgence and knocked me to the ground, and I said, oh, I have found the modern Jesus. Seeing Prabhupada and was like, wow. I can still remember Prabhupada was glowing effulgence like the aurora borealis. And I went down and I said, I have found the modern Jesus. And then, of course, I got Mahaprasad. And when I tasted that Mahaprasad, I jumped up, give me more, give me more, give me more. And the devotee said, got to come back tomorrow. So I was coming back just for prasad. And other things, little by little, the book, more, you advance. But prasadam, yes. Like right now I'm hungry, my wife is cooking. So I'm tired. I can't do any more questions, Ramachandra. I'll do one song and then call it a night. How's that?
Works, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, so this one is for Yogi, because Yogi Ji, he asked me at the beginning to sing a song, so I'm dedicating it to Yogi Ji and you also. Let's see, where is it? Oh, wait. It's not plugged in. Wait a second. It's not plugged in. Hold on. You can call him Allah. You can call him Buddha. You can call him Jehovah. You can call him Adonai. Why, you can even say Jesus, sweet Lord Jesus. Say any name of the Lord, it's all the same to me. Everybody, my sweet Lord, Hare Krishna. Oh, my Lord, Hare Krishna. Oh, my Lord, Krishna Krishna. My sweet Lord, Hare Hare. I really want to serve you, Hare Rama. Though I don't deserve you, Hare Rama. Really want to serve you, Lord. Please don't let it be long. Hare Hare. My sweet Lord, Hare Krishna. Oh, my Lord, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. My sweet Lord, Hare Hare. I really want to know you, Hare Rama. Really want to go with you, Rama. Really want to show you, Lord. Rama. Please don't let it be long. Hare Hare. My sweet Lord, Hare Krishna. My sweet Lord, Hare Krishna. Ooh, my Lord, Krishna Krishna. My sweet Lord, Hare Hare. I really want to see you, Hare Rama. Really want to be with you, Rama. Really want to see you, Lord. I hope it won't take long. Haribol, Nitin. My sweet Lord. Everybody. Hare Krishna. Oh, my Lord. Hare Krishna. My sweet Lord. Krishna Krishna. Oh, my Lord. This is it. My sweet Lord. Hare Rama. Oh, my Lord. Hare Rama. My sweet Lord. Rama Rama. My sweet Lord. Hare Hare. Talking about my Lord. That's it, boys and girls. It's time to go take prasad with your blessings. Looks like you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much. May Krishna bless you and protect you. And joining us Here in Los Angeles is my friend Nitin Dua. Would you all say Hari Bol to Nitin? All of you say Hari Bol. Thank
Hari
you,
Bol.
Nitin.